So I have talked about over 30 steps covering the path to publication for writers. This series has been called Publishing Bootcamp. I didn't really know what else to call it, but there have been, I think to date, 31 steps. So this is Publishing Bootcamp lesson 32. I've covered writing, I've covered submitting to agents, I've given tips for query letters. You can find all those videos on my profile. The last two were about what happens when you receive an offer of representation from an agent and what happens when you receive an offer from a publisher. Today I'm going to talk about what happens if there is no offer of representation or publication. I've already talked about rejection, so that's the emotional side of this. Today it's the practical side. Should you self-publish? Should you go to a vanity press where you will be expected to put in some money? What are your options? So the first thing to think about is whether or not you want to keep writing. If it was just one and done for you, that probably means that writing is actually not your path. If you just have this one manuscript and you wanted to see what would happen to it and you're not interested in writing anything else, I'd say you're one and done, and that's fine. You've given it a shot. It's totally okay to walk away. If you can walk away. If writing is in your bloodstream though, you'll probably be back. If you are writing in particular genres that do well on Kindle Unlimited, for example, romance and associated genres, then self-publishing is absolutely a viable option for you. I am not an expert in self-publishing, so I am not going into the details of that here. I'm sure there are experts on this platform who can give you some information. And I work at a traditional publishing company, not a vanity press, so I don't know the ins and outs of that, but that is an option. And those are the publishing companies where you as the author will put in some money to cover the costs of production, editorial, promotion, all those sorts of things. Now, we have seen a whole movement in authors going it alone. This has been happening in music for quite a while. I have a whole country music life, and I know a lot of independent country music artists in Australia. They have been funding the production of their songs and the promotion and the touring for a really long time. It's not easy, but they do get to make all the decisions, and yes, they accept all the risk, but when there are successes, they get to have all that success for themselves. That is in a particular genre though. So that's also why I said with self-publishing, the genre is important. You need to be able to identify an audience really clearly with whom you can communicate that you have a book out, and keep communicating with them in case they didn't get it the first few times. So I think I'm going to wrap up the series here. Of course, I am always open to your questions. If you have any questions at all about anything to do with the publishing process and also about writing, please leave them in the comments. Some people have left questions that I haven't had the chance to get to because I've been making this series. But yeah, I always want to be able to give information if I can. So thank you for watching this series, and I'm sure I'll see you again. Bye.